You have to use what God gives you if He's going to give you more. In the parable of the talents, 2 men took what they had and used it, and the one man didn't use it. He hid it. Again, God's a good steward. And why am I saying this? Listen, the American dream is to get enough to stop. Isn't that the truth? The American dream is to get enough to stop. Let me talk about retirement for just a minute. Retirement is nowhere in the Bible. Retirement is not a biblical concept. It came from the government, for crying out loud. And I bless our government, but they don't come up with a lot of good ideas, especially when they're arguing with God. 65 years old, the age of 65 for retirement was arrived at in 1935 by the government of the United States. Retirement was never even a concept until 1880 in Germany. That's where no one ever retired. For thousands and thousands of years, people worked till they died. And now if you're a ditch digger, you might not want to dig ditches for the rest of your life if you have something that's real. But let me say this. Did you know that if you're doing something physical, you'll live longer if you keep doing it? Did you know if you stop, you die? In 1965, the average person lived to 68 years old. In other words, you got 3 years of Social Security and then you keeled over. They wanted you to keel over. They planned on you dying. They couldn't have you around for long. They couldn't afford it. Now, people are living into their late 70s and early 80s. And I just tell you this, you were born to do what God called you to do until you die. That's what God, let me say this. And you say, God, I want you to give me an abundance. Well, let me tell you, there's a problem with that. Because most people take what God gives them and use it against Him. Karen and I started a Bible study, this has been 30 years ago, in our church in Amarillo, and we had, about 12 or 15 couples in our Bible study. And there was a young couple in our Bible study, wonderful, precious couple, on our front porch. They were the first people there, the last people that left. And he had a business that he had started that he was, really hungry and wanting his business to succeed. And he was very godly, very humble guy until he got wealthy. And we prayed every week for them in our Bible study. He would say, listen, we've got this financial issue. We're dealing with this. And would you pray? And we prayed and we prayed and prayed. He became very wealthy. And the wealthier he got, the more arrogant and ungodly he became. And his wife came to us and began to tell us about his behavior and so on and so forth. And I took him out to eat lunch one day, and I said across from him, and I said, listen, I'm concerned about you. And I said, I think the world of you, and I'm so glad that your business has done well. But let me just tell you, the more money you've gotten, the more arrogant you've become, the more problematic you've become to your wife. You don't come to Bible study as often. When you come, you're distracted. And he looked across at me with hate. He wasn't listening to me with open ears. He looked at me with hate, and I said, I'm just telling you as a friend, I'm concerned about you. They divorced. He went into a very destructive lifestyle. Everything I know, now he may be doing fine today. Everything I know from that moment forward was bad. Listen, who can God bless and they won't use it against him? And you say, God, I want you to give me $1 million. God, I want you to give me opportunity in business. I want you to give me this. If God gave it to you, would you stop? We had a neighbor across the street from us at her house in Amarillo years ago. She was 91 years old. She was wealthy. You would never have known she was wealthy. And when we met her, she was on a stepladder at 91 years old painting her house. And Karen went across the street and said to her, what in the world do you think you're doing? She called Karen Kit. She's up on this ladder at 91 years old painting her house. And she said, what do you think you're doing up on that ladder painting your house? And she said, well, Kid, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? 91 years old. She was so feisty. That's why she was 91 years old. The devil wants you to stop, because when you stop, you'll die. And people get Alzheimer's much more often when they stop using their brain. It's proven science. You were designed to serve God until the day you die. Can you slow down? Sure. You might want to save up enough money so you can self-fund and become a missionary. You might want to be able to self-fund and volunteer at the hospital or volunteer in your church. That's wonderful. Those are admirable things. And you might want to slow down just a little bit. But I'm saying this, God will not bless you stopping. It is an unbiblical concept. People ask me all the time, when are you going to retire? Death is my retirement plan.
thank you for joining us. Experience the life-changing series You, Me, and Money on CD or DVD. Follow your interests and get social by connecting with Jimmy and Karen and the Ministry of Marriage Today on Twitter. Happy Happy Love will supercharge your marriage with practical tips, wisdom, and inspiration for every stage of marriage. Visit happylovebook.com. Looking for your next great book? Start reading instantly with Marriage Today's ebooks, now available online. Become a rock-solid partner today and equip yourself with the tools you need for a successful marriage. $14, $28, or $56 per month. Choose the partnership level that's right for you. Become a rock-solid partner today.